Yeah, guys, this is our last episode before we head out for our tour. Our first show in Toronto, our second tour together in London. So London is on 29th of June and Toronto is on 4th and 5th of July. So guys, tickets are there. Jao, lelo, guys. We want this tour to be a success and you guys are always awesome about it. And Toronto, tum log to baap. Thank you guys. You guys have made it. You
Other,
guys
that's
have
no
killed it
way
with
to say
tickets.
fuck you to London. That's no way to
No,
say
no,
fuck you to
no.
London
London is
audience.
also
I
good,
will
but
not let you
London,
say fuck you to
you
the
guys
London
need to
audience.
catch up. London,
So
you need
what
to
if
catch up.
so what if they've not come out in those numbers? Don't say fuck you to them. They will buy tickets. They're just waiting for the last day. They want to make sure we show up there. So
हाँ,
guys, don't worry. 29 को है उसके पहले ले लो फटाफट.
London, just a reminder, tickets will not be available after the date of the show. Just
Yeah,
yeah,
just in
yeah.
case you guys
Usually the show
thought.
is done by that date. Yeah.
yeah.
So 29th of June.
बाय द वे,
Also,
एक मिनट मेरे को
हाँ,
एक चीज बोलनी है. हम लोग का
हाँ,
ये जो एक रील डाल दिया है वो बार्बर बार्बर वाला चाइनीज बार्बर वाला, which has probably been our most viral reel in one day, 1.5 million, this that. And I'm happy that 1.5
yeah.
million हो गया, उससे और फॉलोअर्स आए. लेकिन अभी ये जो 1.5 मिलियन लोगों ने देखा है, इन लोगों को लगता है कि मैं चूतिया हूँ. ठीक है. ये 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 आलिया भट्ट ने वो प्रेसिडेंट का नाम नहीं मालूम वो कैसे वायरल हो गया. अभी मेरे को मैच अभी लोग मेरे को मैसेज कर रहे हैं, ब्रो कैन आई बोरो 100 रुपीज.
That's so funny. Because the thing is, like, I think way more people have seen that reel than even watch the podcast. So,
Yeah.
so podcast watching people know कि तेरे को multiplication आता है, but the wider public doesn't know कि तेरे को
ब्रो क्या
GP
क्या
आता
चालू हो
है.
गया पब्लिक कुछ.
मुझे बहुत लोग यही तो
700
मुझे
कमेंट
बहुत
है.
लोग का मैसेज आ रहा है हाँ मेरे को बहुत लोग का मैसेज आ रहा है कि डूड दिस इज वी वॉच द पॉडकास्ट एंड माय फ्रेंड्स आर शोइंग मी दिस people who've never watched the podcast. It's like
I'm
suddenly
telling
I'm
you,
watching
it's
you
gone
guys.
more to non-followers
हाँ
than it has to our actual followers. अभी ना there's a
yeah.
vast, guys, I'm not bad at math. वो टाइम पे थोड़ा मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया था, but
नहीं
she was
किसी ने
right.
लिखा है कि वरुण इज ऑसम एट मल्टीप्लिकेशन बट एडिशन में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है उसको
Uh, anyway, but on an even better note, in the lead up to the Prime Day, we have some good news to tell you guys. We have partnered up with Amazon Music. So from now on, for the next 4 weeks, every TIS episode on the audio platform is going to come first on Amazon Music exclusively for a week before it goes to the other platforms. YouTube drop continues as always on a Tuesday. तो उधर देख रहे हो तो उधर आ जाओ, लेकिन प्लीज जाओ Amazon Music डाउनलोड करो, वहां पे हमारा पॉडकास्ट सुनो. एंड थैंक यू सो मच Amazon Music एंड कांट वेट फॉर प्राइम डे. इसी बात पे चालू करते हैं आज का एपिसोड इन 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Internet Set. So, a show where we take random shit, universal facts, such even puzzle stories, and we talk about it. And this is ghost stories, but this lighting is not ghost stories. So, we are going to
No.
change in 3, 2, 1.
अबे तुम लोग ने वन सेकेंड आई मेड ऑल दिस एफर्ट कि मैं एक बटन दबाऊं and suddenly I just go to this but you guys have basic this stays in the podcast now us doing a click and then both of you getting off your chair and then switching off 4 lights in the house.
तो मैं लाइट ज्यादा रखे क्या इधर की? चाहे दादा लाइट ऐसे ही क्या, तो लाइट जानी चाहिए,
हाँ
मेरे को
अरे
जाना
मैं
पड़ रहा है ना.
प्रेपरेशन करके बैठा हूँ आई वेंट लाइक देखो ये ऑन एंड देन हाँ
Oh,
नाउ
oh,
इन
oh,
गो
oh.
स्टोरी मोड सो दैट वाज द प्लान.
तू आर्टिफिशियल लाइटिंग में, मैंने प्रिपेयर किया कैंडल के साथ, इसके हार्मफुल फ्यूम्स मेरे नाक में जा रहा है और मैं सिर्फ ये कर रहा हूँ पॉडकास्ट के लिए ताकि पब्लिक को वाइट.
Yeah, the thing is, here's what you're not like getting because it's a video platform. I've got a Bath and Body Works going over here.
मी टू. तेरा कौन सा चल रहा
Oh.
है?
So it's sweater weather. So,
वहां पे हो तो दिसंबर टाइम.
so the thing is that the disconnect is so crazy, right? Like here we're telling serious ghost stories, and meanwhile my nose is just breathing in things that you would smell in a spa. It's just wild.
मेरा महागनी महागनी टीकवुड वाला चल रहा है, तो एकदम एकदम
Mahogany.
ऐसे मस्त.
गाइस मैं सच बोल रहा हूँ मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ अपने लाइट
तू
को दिस
पागल
इज
है.
जस्ट हैपन आई एम नॉट डूइंग शिट दिस लाइट इज जस्ट फकिंग अराउंड आई
Ooh.
एम लेजिट नॉट टचिंग इट.
योर राइट हैंड इज टचिंग इट.
On
नहीं नथिंग
this.
ये देख ये मैं नीचे से पकड़ा उसके स्टैंड से पकड़ा है मैंने ऊपर है कंट्रोल्स.
Oh my
दैट्स
God.
द साइन दैट आत्मा इज अराउंड यू.
Oh, it's perfect. Also,
तो
if you're watching
electricity के
this,
साथ आती है.
if you're watching this, also switch off your lights, get comfy.
Yeah.
As usual, you know the drill.
Yeah, and if you're watching this in the day and you switch off the light, it's not going to make a difference because it's the day.
And if you're
So,
watching this on the train, and there are 5 people pressed against you,
yeah,
then I guess that's the perfect way to watch this.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's optimum viewing of this episode is if you're between 5 people on a train. Enjoy. All right, Kautuk, can we go to what we did this episode for? क्योंकि नहीं तो अपन funny ghost stories हो जाएंगे.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, serious.
Chalo. 3, 2, 1. We'll put some kind of transition or something.
Guys,
Still also
share,
serious.
share, and subscribe to
Okay.
this.
All right. This is ghost story number 1 from this episode. This is about a cursed place, right? And you'll find out what that place is very soon. Now, this is an urban legend. I've heard it in passing. I don't know how true or false it is, but if you've heard this too, do let me know in the comments below. So here's the version of the story I heard. It goes something like this. The story starts with there's a couple. The girl's name was Megha. The guy's name was Ishan, and very happy couple, young couple. And at the time that they were dating, so Ishan was a very outdoorsy person. Like he loved, like going trekking, hiking, all of that stuff. Megha was not that keen on these activities. But she never like held back Ishan. So anytime he wanted to go, she would fully support him. And this one time he tells her that I'm going hiking, and there's a particular trail that I found, which is slightly remote, but I've heard that the views are very rewarding. So she says, amazing, go for it. So Ishan sets out on this particular hike. Now he's told her the general route that he's taking, but occasionally Ishan is also known because he's such a sort of like a outdoorsy person. He sometimes strays off the beaten paths, right, just to see what other interesting things are around him. So what happens is that as he goes for this trek, he's in communication with her for a while, and then the messages and everything stop. Now, this is not out of the ordinary because when you are in such remote places, cell phone coverage is very, very low. So Megha doesn't think too much of it. However, things become very, very concerning when the next day too, they hear nothing from Ishan. Now she's frantically calling him, frantically messaging him, but there is no reply. The messages aren't even getting delivered. Now, by the end of that second day, alarm bells have rung across friends and family. They have begun reaching out to people in the area. They reach out to people who are, in the rescue teams and all of that stuff, and the rescue teams are mobilized. Now, people scour this trail that he had told them about. They go all across the length and breadth of it, but they cannot find any trace of Ishan. It seems as if Ishan has just vanished off the face of the earth. They don't find tracks, they don't find any objects that he's left behind. There is no trace of him whatsoever. Now, death is a horrible outcome, but when a person goes missing, it's almost worse because there is still that undying hope that remains with you. There is no closure, right? It's just an open wound. And you can imagine how bad it was for Megha and how bad it was for Ishan's brother Sahil. Both of them have lost someone extremely close to them, and there is just no knowing what has happened to him. That's the thing that bothers them the most, right? They keep tabs, they try their best to rally the local government, the government offices. They try to rally the rescue teams again, but after a point, resources are very limited and people can't do much. The area that he was in was also extremely mountainous, and it had a lot of jungle. Like it was very like dense jungles basically. So eventually, slowly, these rescue efforts trickle down to a stop. The days go by, the days become weeks, and then weeks become months, and there is no sign, no news, no presence of Ishan. Now, during this time, because of the shared grief that the two of them had, Megha and Sahil grow quite close. And they would often call each other and they would, talk about how they are in this extremely hellish situation and that nobody else apart from the two of them could possibly understand what they were going through. But as time goes by, Megha slowly, very, very gradually begins moving on. Now, she would never fully forget Ishan, but you cannot always be at a standstill in life. So eventually, gradually, she begins moving on. She has lots of conversations with Sahil about how conflicted she feels, but Sahil reassures her, and he tells her that, you know, the situation and the circumstances are what they are, and she should not hold herself back. So eventually, she does fall in love with another man, and eventually, she gets married. Now, on the night before her wedding, it's the night before her wedding when Megha, that particular night, gets a dream. And in this dream, she sees a waterfall. The water is roaring as it hits the rocks below. There's this intense noise, thundering noise of water, just like a large volume of water just banging against these rocks. Now, in front of this waterfall, there are these mossy stones, extremely green, covered in moss. And standing on those mossy stones, she sees the figure of Ishan. He is smiling at her and smiling completely normally, smiling the way that he always smiled when she knew him, in a loving, familiar way. She wakes up with a start. Her heart is pounding. Right? She eventually, as day breaks, as soon as it's like a normal enough time, she picks up the phone and calls Sahil. And she tells him that this is the dream I saw. Now, keeping this in mind, Sahil says, "You saw a waterfall?" She says, "Yes." He says, "Well, rescue teams did speak about this one particular waterfall. It's called the Ambuvan Falls. And they said that it's the one area that they hadn't gone to because it was extremely difficult to reach, and it was very unlikely that Ishan would have gotten there too because it was like miles away from where his trail was." So Sahil then urges the rescue teams to swing into action to try to see whether anything could be made of this place. In the interim, Megha gets married. Now, rescue teams reach Ambuvan Falls, and as they approach this place, they can hear the thundering of the water. And they get closer and closer. They see the mossy stones, and there, lying on the mossy stones, they find Ishan's body. His body seems to have it's like his bones had been smashed to pieces, almost as if he had fallen from a height onto those particular rocks. Now, one of the other reasons that the locals were reluctant to go there was because they claimed that the Ambuvan Falls was a cursed place. But under the pressure of the family, they had reluctantly gone, and lo and behold, they had found this body. Now, the news came back, and when Megha heard about it, she was just a few weeks into her marriage, and you can imagine again what sort of turmoil she must have been in, because on one end she's in this incredibly happy period of her life, and at the other end this happy period has been jolted by something horrendous from her past. Now, the other crazy thing about this particular story is that when they found the body wasn't as decomposed as it should have been for the amount of months that it had been missing. Now, the body being found gets a little bit of closure for Sahil and Megha, and life eventually moves on. Years go by, and as the years go by, Megha actually does find a considerable amount of happiness. She's very happy with her husband. They have a son, and life is going pretty peaceably. Now, it's years later that her peace would suddenly be fractured again, and it would be fractured by a phone call she gets. It's a phone call from Sahil. Sahil calls her one night and he tells her, Megha, I don't know how to tell you this. It's extremely alarming. I feel like you need to know this. She says, what happened? And he tells her that, Megha, I had a dream last night. And in the dream, I saw a waterfall. Water thundering against the rocks. Rocks in front of the waterfall covered in moss, green, thick. And on those rocks, I saw you. You were standing, looking at me, smiling. Now, as she hears this, she is jolted back to that night before her wedding, when she had seen the same vision, except the difference being that she had seen a beloved Ishan. Now, when she hears this, her stomach drops, the fingertips go cold. She can't believe what she's hearing. She knows that whatever this is, it seems to be bad news. The first thought that occurs to her is that she must keep her son safe. She doesn't know how this thought pops into her head, but she's like, I must keep my son safe. Now, her son's name was Ritvik, and at the point where Sahil has called her, Ritvik was 7 years old. Now, for the next 2 weeks, they are fraught with panic, with anxiety. What she does is she makes sure that she's away from water. She keeps Ritvik away from, she becomes paranoid. Anytime that water is involved, if she's bathing, he's bathing, she's extremely alert, right? And she keeps, her mind is always racing as to what is going to happen next. But 2 weeks go by and nothing happens. Now, at the end of 2 weeks, Ritvik is going to school. It's a particularly rainy day. And they live in this building. They live on the first floor. And she's packed his lunch box. She's packed his bag and she sends him off. Now, Ritvik starts descending the stairs. And as he's descending the stairs, she can hear the little pitter patter of his feet going down. And suddenly, the pitter patter dissolves to nothing, and it's replaced by the roaring of water hitting rocks. Suddenly, she can hear this thunderous sound of this waterfall all around her. She doesn't know what's happening. She throws open the door and she sees that where her son had walked, she can see muddy footprints. Now she feels this sudden urge. She has to stop her son from getting onto this bus, because if she doesn't stop him, something awful is going to happen. She runs down the stairs. Her boy, she can see him in the distance. He's about to board this bus, this big yellow bus. She can see it. He's about to step onto it. She's yelling out his name. She's running on the footpath. And suddenly she feels her feet giving way. She has slipped on thick green moss that has covered this footpath, and her temple slams against the footpath. She convulses on that footpath, and slowly her life drains out of her as rain comes thundering down upon her body. Now, the curse that is said to be part of Ambuvan Falls is this: whoever visits this particular place ends up dying, and whoever they think of last, the curse passes on to them. When Ishan had lost his life at the falls, the last person he had thought of was Megha. And years later, as Megha lay convulsing on that footpath, the rain battering her body, the last person she thought of was her son.
Oh,
And years later, suddenly one morning, her son would wake up to the sound of a roaring waterfall.
hard.
That is the story of Ambuvan Falls.
Crazy.
So yeah,
The weird thing is, like, if the son is thinking of some like hot model or something, that's like, oh, free me for no reason. That woman gets the
No,
curse
but
passed on to her.
that's the crazy part about a curse like this, right? Ki when the light is going out of your eyes, when you're dying, you are going to think of the
The
person
person
you
you love the
love the
most.
most.
Yeah.
तू मरते वक्त हॉट मॉडल नहीं सोच रहा है भाई, नहीं आ रहा है, अगर
बट
आ रहा
वो
है तो
14 year old बच्चा है.
हाँ अभी वो डिपेंड करता है ना कब मर रहा है. But fuck, that was a crazy one.
Yeah.
The symbolism of her falling, slipping over the moss. So it's even though like because I was thinking that in which way is the waterfall going to make
it's
an
Hmm.
appearance again? You know, like
yeah.
is there a school trip going to somewhere which is near the waterfall? Whatever. Like you know, you start trying to put things together, but that the way it was, you know, her slipping on the moss, falling, and when rain pouring, it totally mimics exactly what someone would have felt there.
Ishan went through. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a crazy story. Like,
Bro, you know, in the beginning when you were talking about the guy going missing, trekking and all of that, right? It's so weird because I think almost 10, 15 years ago, there was a similar case of this one guy from Bombay who had gone to the hills. I think he was somewhere near Kasol Rashol, somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember exactly. I don't know his name. But he happened to be a friend's cousin.
hmm,
He had left everything, fucked off. He was there in the mountains for quite some time. And then apparently, like his Instagram post and whatever, Facebook at that time, you know, post sort of gave like a weird picture of him, you know, because he disappeared. Like they couldn't get in touch with him. They were trying to call, they kuch nahi ho raha hai. Then
yeah,
you start tracing the steps back and then you try finding meaning in whatever they wrote at the end, right? So from that, they were able to sort of feel that maybe he wanted to take his own life.
oh,
Yeah. Then there was other this of he's been kidnapped by some gangs. There's another thing of he might have been mauled by a bear. Whole bunch of things for almost a month, 2 months. They couldn't find him. He ended up being a friend's cousin, which I found out much later. Like they've had search parties, all of that.
yeah, yeah.
And then very many months later, they found him at the bottom of some valley or something like that. It was freaky.
No, and
Mhm.
that's the other thing. Like, you don't realize just, I mean, like, obviously, like, you do also, but like the fact that when
Hmm.
someone goes missing in the wild, right, there is so much ground to cover that
Yeah,
it is actually a miracle that anybody gets found also. Like,
correct.
it's truly a miracle. So
No,
it,
exactly. And this is the same thing that happened with the guy. And it wasn't necessarily wanting to take his own life. You start trying to find
yeah,
meaning, right? Because you have to give it
Yeah.
some sort of justification of what happened.
yeah,
One is that B, so many mishaps can happen
yeah,
during a trek. Bro, I'm like the places that he went to, I had gone with my friends. I remember there was this much space to walk at
Yeah,
times at
right.
certain places.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
I mean, you know better than to be stupid then, but okay, maybe not that, but it's not 4 लेन का हाईवे नहीं होता. तो कितने
Correct.
बार तो ऐसा कर रहा भी है ट्रैक, there are chances that something untoward happens and you can fall. It's very normal and it's happened to a whole bunch of people.
No,
So
and
they were still
No,
not able to
I've
finally decipher whether he did he jump, did he slip, or was he pushed? Because they were trying to explore each angle.
It's just I've been looking at so many like essay stories and stuff like that. It's just I don't know why. एक तो ये है sometimes it just puts you off from really exploring nature. Like I've been reading so many stories of like guys who go into caves, and this guy just like and they go into these tiny spots where you have to breathe out all your air to pass through.
Yeah.
That kind, and they're still like
spelunking,
trying
right?
to keep going, keep going, keep going. And this one dude just got stuck in such a way, and then he
Yeah,
realized that it is just a ditch, and you can't now wriggle yourself out.
yeah, yeah. I think I saw this too. Like there's an image
Yeah,
of this guy, and the way he is stuck. Just seeing an image on your screen will give you claustrophobia. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah.
level,
Dude,
right?
you're talking about that. When I recently maybe 3 months back, when मेरा shoulder का जब injury हुआ, I had to go take an MRI.
Oh,
Hmm.
I
That
don't
machine.
वैसे have claustrophobia. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't like cramped spaces, but not enough to. I don't know what happened that day. I've gone in, I've gotten taped up, gone inside. Now, because this thing was hurting, I had put like वो जो pain relief.
uh,
ठीक है? So
Hmm.
this was hot. It was getting hotter. Even though there's AC in the room, inside that bloody thing, it's not like super. So I'm suffocating. And for the first time, I've done 3 MRIs in my life so far. This was the only time where, dude, I can't even begin to tell you, I was scared. I was like actually scared. Normally, I'm able to like breathe, control myself, and go into a space where the sound and the lack of room doesn't affect me. But this time, it got so scary that I kept shaking my legs like that as a sign for the guy to stop it, pull me out. Then he tried again. Second time it happened. The only time I was able to calm down is when I had to tell that guy, a dude I had never met, to please be in the room with me, and not just be in the room with me, hold my leg.
wow.
Abey.
And that's the only way I was able. I've never felt that in my life. And कितना था 15 minute 20 minute I don't even remember.
You
But
just feel like a rising panic, na?
Hmm.
suddenly,
Yeah.
and if it was my first time, I would understand that. Oh, first time, I don't know what to expect. I've done it twice before.
Wow.
So it was like, I mean, while we're talking about claustrophobia, it can really, really get to you.
Yeah. There is.
That getting stuck in a cave situation is like right up there in things I never want to
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
experience. I don't understand the fascination of going between crevices and let's go inside. No, let's not. Let's not. Let's just be outside, breathe, and like fuck off as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Don't go. Don't go inside.
By the way, just one quick recommendation. In case you want, like, if in case you're a fan of this kind of like exploring caves and meeting grizzly ants, do check out this movie called The Descent. It's an extraordinary movie.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Epic, epic movie. एक और है this one that I've discovered which I'm waiting to watch with Aparna. It's a documentary called Cursed.
Hmm.
So it's a documentary about a guy who's basically trying to figure out if curses are real. So he's gone to the biggest
Yeah,
babas in India. He's gone to caves in Mexico where these guys are like shamans are there and stuff like that. And he's told them to put curses on
yeah, I
him.
read about this.
To put curses
And
on
then
him.
he's
On him.
on him. So he's got like ऐसे कर्स पे कर्स उस पे चढ़े जा रहा है. And he's going to and talking to scientists. And it's like, is there a placebo effect to this? Okay, if I have seen the curse being done, or if I believe that I've been cursed, will that affect my body?
Interesting. Like, and by the way, the um like the fact that the like I'll tell you what I'm getting at. I'm not a very strong believer one way or the other, but I would still want to err on the side of not getting cursed.
Caution. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just in the off chance, and just like you said, just in the like you get this kind of thing. Even if someone puts this in your mind, right, कि नजर लग गया या जो भी है, the next time
Ah.
something bad happens, your mind first goes to oh नजर लग गया.
Yeah, yeah, bro, straight. You will take the tiniest of things. You missing your Uber, your bus, you misstepping and falling and suddenly hurting yourself. You're like, oh, it started. Like the mind needs very little to
Very little.
go like haywire, bro. And if somebody tells you, मैं तुझ पे ये कर रहा हूँ, तेरे साथ यही होगा, I think like mentally, no matter how chill and calm you think you are, it just you,
It
like
is
start.
at the back of your
Yeah,
back
yeah,
of
for
the
sure,
back of
dude.
your mind. Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't believe in it, but I don't want it to be true either. So,
But you think a lot of curses work on this format? कि तूने curse किया है तेरे किसी को, then you have to convince them that that person has been cursed, like in a nonchalant way. But ऐसा लग रहा है तेरे पे curse हुआ है. Because otherwise the curse will not work. So you have to do this weird mind game as well as do the curse. Only then will it happen. That's why I think there are objects that people leave like bistar. Like I know stories like friends of mine and stuff like that. होता है कि मैं बचपन में like when I was 1 year old, I was very sick. Like that, like my friend is like, I was sick and I was vomiting, and there were days when like my parents were like, oh, this is gone. And then a couple of days, so then his mother was like, I have to, okay, let's do a cleanse of the house. So they just started cleaning. And बिस्तर के नीचे उन लोग को एक ऐसा छोटा सा कुछ ऐसा weird doll type मिला.
oh,
So the mother took it and flushed it down the toilet. So apparently it was like he was the first child in the house. So so the mother suspects that one of the aunties or the sisters were jealous, and they were
Oh
like,
my
they were
God.
"ये
doing
कुछ
voodoo,
करना
voodoo,
चाहिए."
voodoo doll.
हाँ, हाँ. And
ये
then
उसका
after
टॉय
that,
था.
he was okay. नहीं, क्या टॉय, न्यू बॉर्न बेबी का क्या टॉय होता है? न्यू बॉर्न बेबी टॉय स्लॉबर.
No, but थोड़ा तो कुछ तो होगा. Fuck.
नहीं, it was something weird. It was this
But
weird
usually
black
voodoo dolls
thing.
you'll have like with some nails and all like घुसेड़ in
Hmm.
them, ना बना के जब करते हैं.
तो भाई नहीं, नहीं करने का. If burning a little bit of sage can solve, मैं सेज जला रहा हूँ भाई.
मैं
I
तो
don't
जलाता हूँ.
care.
मैं सेज अगरबत्ती अगरबत्ती सब कुछ.
Oh, dude, I must tell you about this one particular guy. So, because Sage reminded me of this, by the way.
Hmm.
So, um, I had done a stand-up show for, uh, so basically there's a psychologist, um, and he had invited me. There was a meeting happening where they were like it was a mental health awareness thing. So he had called me for that. So I performed over there. Now, uh, I exit, and it was me and Sam, the TCC, the owner of
Hmm.
TCC. So the two of us were there, and so we left after eating and everything. We're outside, and we're about to just take a break and head home. Just then, we're talking about something, and this guy walks past, and he says, he sort of overhears our conversation and just randomly just joins in. He says, "Hey, you guys are talking about this, right? Wait, I also have something to contribute," and he just joins in. And then slowly he begins to talk about his life. And he's like, I've lost a lot of money. I can prove it to you. I've lost a lot of money. And he's got these like very piercing eyes. And he's just looking at it, I've lost a lot of money. I can prove it. I can prove it. And then he opens his phone and he's got an article ready. It's a it's an article
On
in
him.
yeah. He's like, there's an article, man loses X amount of money. And he's like, look, I've lost so much money here. It's okay. How can you live in this city? I've lost so much money. Look at me. And all this while, I can smell something odd in the vicinity. I'm like, what is going on? What is the smell? And then I look down and I see that in his hands, he is holding this much, like a gucha of sage.
Hmm.
And he's lit it on fire and it's just like, it's there. And like, so you can just like feel like as the more he was standing there, right, the more you can feel these fumes coming off of this man. And I asked him, why are you holding the sage? And he says, I have to cleanse, I have to cleanse, I have to cleanse. Man, like, there are few things scarier than the inside of people's minds sometimes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like, you have no idea how much I wanted quickly to get into rickshaws and leave. It's quite a
But
crazy.
these witchcraft things are there, no? There are random videos of some like actress or somebody coming out of the airport or something, and then you see like कोई आता है फोटो वोटो लेने के लिए, which is normal. वो आ रहे हैं तो paparazzi भी है वो भी है, and then because there's so many paparazzi cameras, they've got this really high def footage of stuff, slow motion. ये so I think I don't know which actress it was or something. They see one random person coming for a photo and photo लेने के बाद pinches her on the arm or something before walking away.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the actress reacts, and because it's so crowded, she just turns around and she's like, something weird happened. So it's like, इस पे कुछ जादू टोना किया गया है, ये किया है, इनको जाके घर पे क्लेंस करना चाहिए. भाई बहुत कुछ, बहुत विचक्राफ्ट है.
I do find these kind of things the creepiest. The subtle things, not the overt stuff. It's just
Yeah.
the fact that
But
someone
that's the thing now. Overt is never this because you've already made up your mind in that case. I'm telling you. So the building I grew up in, one of my neighbors from another wing was accused of doing black magic with every person that she had fought with in the building,
oh my God.
including her immediate neighbors who came one night home and they found like this classic your voodoo doll type black like that with that's why I said these pins wins because they found it like outside their house and they're just like what this is about they don't know, but the last person that she had fought with was the same woman, and they were eventually basically what they had done is to their house they sold it to four different people and they had laundered money, scam people, and bounced. So those guys would keep coming over to ask where they are and whatnot. So the other people in the building would also get troubled by them. Then many years later, one auntie met another auntie who said, इसने मेरे पे भी जादू टोना किया है. And they're like, तुम किसकी बात कर रहे हो? Then they took the same woman's name.
Ah.
I don't know. She just has that vibe, I think.
And the only thing
I
that
never felt that though, because I met that auntie and she looked like a normal auntie. I don't think she did. There was anything weird about her, but everybody else thought that she is full black magic
no, and
queen.
the thing is that like rationally that ये सब नहीं होता है, right? But just the image of or the stuff you've heard about it makes it so much more creepy.
Hmm.
Like, and the fact that the arms industry is worth so much more than the black magic industry tells you all you need to know about what is
अरे
it.
बट वो भी होता है ना, CIA has been trying to do this. It's some variation of black magic or like mind control or something. So there is some investment going into this zone. ऐसा नहीं है कि they're like ये exploration. Like okay, there's black magic, there's witch hacks. I found a series of witch hacks.
What?
Okay,
From which
witch hacks.
influencers?
हाँ, from witch influencers. Like usually all these influencers like the lakhs of followers and पीछे pentagram होता है and they're also making lists. वो लोग भी list.
विशाल
तो
के पेंटाग्राम था.
no matter what you are still a slave to the algorithm. It's like list तो बनाना पड़ेगा हम लोग को भी.
The fifth one you can't believe. मालूम है ना ये
Yeah,
जो भी
stay
लिस्ट
till
वाले
the
रील
end.
होते हैं. I can't
Yeah.
believe the 10th one actually happened. So तू बैठ के चल यार स्क्रब करके सीधा 10 मिल गया उसको एल्गो का नशा और 5 मिलियन आ गए.
Stitch incoming. So पहला वाला है, if you can't find something in your house, get a glass cup and उसको उस पे से थोड़ा पानी डाल के पियो and then turn it upside down and leave it. You will most likely find it in the next few hours on Monday if
You
you
will find
can't
it in
find
the
something.
glass.
नहीं नहीं, not in the glass. अबे रिमोट घूम गया तो ग्लास के अंदर थोड़े निकल आएगा रिमोट.
जो अच्छा देखो मिल
Then
जाएगा.
मिल जाएगा. Another one is never make fun of your stuff because things have their own. So never be like, ये मेरा गाड़ी खराब है, ये मेरा फोन सड़ गया है यार. Don't do that because they have their own energy and in fact it'll start getting worse. because you are doing unintentional voodoo onto your object. And the third one is,
आई
and
थिंक
ये
सब उबर को
revenge.
कैब वाले यही करते हैं, अपनी चीजों का मजाक उड़ाते हैं, बिकॉज इट कीप्स गेटिंग वर्स एंड वर्स एंड वर्स.
The last one is, if you want to like take revenge from someone, tell the trees. So you go out, you go very close to a tree bark and just whisper to it कि विशाल ने मेरे को ये किया है, आई विश विशाल को कुछ हो जाए. And basically the trees will avenge you.
And
Nature
and
will
next
avenge you.
and next morning the tree gets cut to for a new metro that's going to be built on it. So sorry
नहीं,
tree.
और फिर ट्री जाके दूसरे ट्री को बोल रहा है, ये जो मेट्रो डिपार्टमेंट है ना,
हाँ, इसको जरा देख. तो इधर मेट्रो का ट्रेन खराब हो रहा है, फिर वापस सर एक दूसरे झाड़ वाड़ को बोल रहे कोई काम नहीं कर रहा है, लेकिन सब झाड़ू से बात कर, सुनना यार ये मेट्रो बना दे, ए सुनना यार इसको मार दे. झाड़ बोल रहे हम चूतिए बैठे हैं यहाँ पे.
oh dude, wait, there is one more thing in the list. If you want guaranteed good fortune and a great time, buy tickets to Makasam.
अरे क्या बात है.
Yes.
ओ नाइस. ओ
Hmm.
कौतुक.
London
कौतुक साइड से आ गया,
29th
क्या बात है.
and Toronto 4th and 5th July.
क्या
Okay.
खरीद खरीद खरीद. चल
Okay, time
आदर.
for next story.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this story is set in 1918 in the town of Sapporo, Japan. So it starts with a boy, a 7-year-old boy called Ikichi. And he collects like he gets a simple job, घर का chores करता है, and he gets like, and he really loves his sister, is a 2-year-old sister, and he like ऐसे अपना collect करता है पैसा पिगी बैंक तोड़ के, he decides इसके बर्थडे के लिए, it's her second birthday, so he's going to buy her a doll. His sister's name is Okiku. Okay, and he goes to the shop and he gets this doll. It was a pale porcelain doll, okay, with black shoulder length hair. And it was, eyes, that gleaming eye, the glass eye, the old school dolls, which are like
Mm.
really well made,
Mm.
almost like perfect, like nice porcelain, very shiny, that kind of doll. And his sister immediately falls in love with this doll. And in fact, Okiku named the doll after herself. So she herself and usko bhi Okiko bolti thi. So the brother's very happy. And the sister would not leave the doll ever. She would feed it. She would go to sleep with it. Even when she's having a bath, she's like, nahi ye samne baithegi meri. So it's like they were inseparable. Now it's 1918, and one winter, like the next winter that came in, Okiko fell ill. Now they didn't have uh, like access to medicine, and she got pneumonia. So Okiku had like a very bad death because she was just in agony. She was just constantly calling for her doll till her last breath. She was just saying, Ikichi, which is her brother, just Ikichi, get me her doll. Ikichi, get me my doll. Get me my doll. Ultimately, she passed away. Now her family, they placed the doll in the altar. They created a small shrine for Okiko. And in the shrine, they, next to her photograph, they placed the doll. And they would, like, every day they would put flowers in front of it. They would put a little food and everything. After a few months, they started to notice something weird. Because the doll's hair, which was once shoulder length, started growing. And initially they thought that they were imagining it. But they started really growing beyond the shoulders now and started curling. And the thing was, the hair was, it started looking from a bob to more like Okiko. So then they got a priest to examine it. And it was not that weird plastic doll hair anymore. The priest is like, this is real human hair. And it felt like it, and it kept growing constantly. Now, the doll's eyes, which were once like, vacant, just glass eyes, just randomly just staring, suddenly they just seemed like they have a focus in them. Like when you look at the doll, it looks like it's staring back at you. It's not this vacant, open eye. There was some depth to the eyes. So it's like they are looking at another human being. And sometimes when visitors used to come to the house, they were like, they swore that, यार ऐसा लग रहा है that she is looking at them. One of their relatives actually fainted because she was alone in the house one day, and she swore that she heard a giggle coming from the altar. And the rest of the members of the house were like, they used to shut their doors to their bedroom every night. Like they would make sure that they would like, it can't be opened from the outside, because they would hear scratching on the floorboards at night. Like, and it's not that there's this different kind of scratching that a person makes versus this, where it looked like it's tiny hands scratching on the floor. These wooden floors that are being just scraped on by tiny nails. So now the family couldn't take it anymore. They decided to move. And they couldn't bring themselves to destroy this doll. And by now the doll's hair have reached her feet. So they can't destroy the doll, and they decided to donate the doll to the monastery. So they gave it to the monastery that was in their town, and they decided to just leave. They just left. Now the priests, the monks there, they would cut her hair. They would cut her hair every month. She was placed in a nice place, and they would cut her hair every month, and it would grow back. Now they tried sealing it in a box. They tried to give it moksha, ke if there is something in here, can it go away? Because they're assuming that Okiku is now in the doll. Some part of Okiku is left in this doll because Okiku somehow imprinted. So they're like, maybe we need to let the spirit go. So they're praying, they're putting sutras, they're placing it around like in a salt ring. But nothing is working. The hair keeps growing and they have to keep cutting. Now, a lot of the monks in there, in the temple, say that the doll appears in their dreams and they can't move when the doll appears. They're lying
Oh
and it's
shit.
like almost sleep paralysis, and the doll is staring at them, and sometimes the doll cries. And they wake up just chanting, just trying to like get protection from, and they've still not been able to figure this out. Some of them now claim that they've started seeing just जब slit होता था ना मुंह का, they've started seeing the lips part now, and they say that they can see teeth forming.
Oh,
And on like particular windy nights, visitors come to the temple and they see this doll in the box.
dude.
And some of them say that when the wind is strong, they can hear a little girl's faint voice asking, "Where is my brother?"
Oof, great. Dude,
Kidu.
you know why this hits harder for me? Because Ira is in her doll phase.
Dolls.
So
Ah,
what, and so she likes dolls, but she doesn't like the doll put together. So we have this one doll. So she has yanked the hair off completely.
Of course.
And it is very creepy to walk into the room and to see this bald baby slumped on a
Oh
couch.
no.
It
Shit.
is very creepy. Every single time I see it, I'm like, yeesh.
And हम लोग लेट काम करते हैं ना, so like there's a good chance you usually get home at like 12, 1 o'clock where everybody's fallen asleep.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you come to a dark house.
dude. And like, I mean, as adorable as dolls are, they are also very creepy because they are just, uh, it's so like human-like and yet so stiff. Those
Oh, and it's so
combinations.
easy to make a doll creepy. Just that one button eye, like you don't have to go out of your way to make a doll creepy. Like just थोड़ा आँख वाँख में थोड़ा तू change किया. Dude, while we did question mark when we were shooting, so we have actually put a scene like this in the movie where we come across a creepy doll and that doll is haunted, right?
Hmm.
Or we feel it's haunted or it's like a red herring type situation. So we're shooting a movie in which we've used a doll that we are going to show as creepy,
Hmm.
except
It's a
because you're
doll.
also shooting movie with same doll, that same doll is actually giving you fucking creepy vibes because
Oh
at some point
no.
of time, some person in production thought it would be funny to just leave it in the fucking loo, which is outside. It's pitch dark. Lights go off. It's cold. It's windy. It's rainy. Two other girls go out and they come screaming because
Oh.
that doll was there. Like it was so funny. Like
नहीं
life
एक
imitate art, imitate life.
एक
no I
मैंने स्टोरी रेडिट पे पढ़ा था ऑफ अ फादर. So this is a guy who's talking about his dad. So he's just like, I I was like 6 years old or 7 years old. I had a doll. You know, they got me a doll. And I started growing out of it. And he was like, I want to get rid of the doll. So the kid threw the doll in the trash because मैं बड़ा हो गया हूँ, now I want action figures. The father was cleaning out stuff and the father found it. And he was like, अरे this is my son's favorite doll. तो उसने जाके बाप ने उसके रूम में वापस रख दिया. Now the child is woken up in the middle of the night and he started screaming, "Okay, this doll is back and it is haunted. I am scared." Now the mother consoles the child, but the father has found out what has happened. So now the father is like, what has to be done? So the mother decides कि हम लोग बाहर जाएंगे and we will bury the doll. So the mother goes with the child, buries the doll, puts him at ease. The father, to fuck with his kid,
oh no
has gone and dug up the doll and put it back in his son's room.
Wow.
The son is freaked out again.
No
the amount
shit.
Then
of
they decide to burn it. They burn the doll. The father goes and
Gets another
finds
doll.
it. No, glues it back together, and now it's a charred doll and leaves it back for a third night. The child has been going to a psychologist and like has been going for therapy for years. And the father told him the father had done this after the kid turned 30. The father has not told him.
I'm surprised the father wasn't stabbed by the same child for the amount of trauma he must have.
23 years. 23 years the father. Sorry, sorry, 13 years the father's not. 30 कितना हुआ? 23 years the father has not said anything.
भाई मैथ्स मत कर वापस. मालूम पड़ेगा actually 17 years. Anyway,
crazy.
okay. So from Japan, I'll take you to a place right next to it, which is Dhanbad. So this happens in Jharkhand, okay, winter
Hmm.
of 2012. Now there's a guy, his name is Satyam. He's a 26-year-old private cab driver in Dhanbad. Now he's gotten a booking from his boss for a ride which is a little far away. So he has to first go to this village called Kherabari and from there pick up this person and take them to Chandarpura railway station, which is like a 40-kilometer drive. Now, Satyam is a new dad. His wife has delivered twins. And they are not really very well off. money is tight. Now you have kids you have to take care of. And so at this point in time, it's like anything goes. I will take whatever work, whatever job at whatever time. I don't care. So now this job he has gotten, which is at night. The He's going by at about 12 o'clock. Now, to go to this place, Kherabari, he has to pass this place, which is called, the locals call it the Bhutahi Ghat, because it's that area that they feel is like cursed with a lot of souls who have not been able to find mukti, bolte hain na वैसे. So it's like trapped souls, and they call it Bhutai Ghat because they feel a ghostly presence there all the time. And that's one area they definitely don't venture to at night. They're like, दिन में फिर भी, it's the thing, but at night, definitely not. This is winter, so it is chilly. It's cold, it's foggy. Now, he knows, he's heard about these stories, but he doesn't really believe in it. So he's like, I don't care, I need the money. So he decides to make the trek. He goes to this place in Kherabari village. He's there. He's waiting to see who the passenger is. Can't hear anything. Suddenly hears a faint voice. Okay, it's like it's soft, but it's flat. There's no, like, what do you call it? No inflection in the voice. Okay, he turns around. He sees a lady in a ghungat. She's looking down, not looking up at him. She says, Chandarpura station, jaldi lena please, 3 baje ki train hai. So he doesn't make too much of it, doesn't ask her anything else, sits in the car, she sits at the back, all the while ghungat looking down. He adjusts the rear view. In the rear view, he can see her at the back. She's not looking up. She's just looking down. Even if you want to sort of try and see her face, you're not able to because she's sitting in that way. He doesn't make anything of it. He puts the windows up, puts the radio on, starts driving. At about 10 minutes, 15 minutes into it, it gets chillier. So he rolls the window up. The song starts, so like you get that weird lag middle, yeah, like static suddenly, and then the song goes, comes back, goes again. He's not making too much of it. He's driving, there's fog, headlights, you can barely see the road, that sort of a situation. So he's driving very carefully. At one point of time, he looks up to see in the rear view. He sees her looking down again. It's fine. Goes ahead, tries to make small talk. कि आप दीदी आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं, आप यहीं रहते हैं क्या? No response. He says, okay, maybe I won't invade her privacy, so stops talking. This time he looks up, but he can't see her. He can't see her in the rear. So he immediately stops and he goes to look behind, but she's right next to him now at this.
Oh, fuck!
So he's driving straight, looks up, goes to turn around, but she's right there. Car sort of skids off the road. He comes to a stop. He looks at her. First time she looks up, you can see her dark black eyes. She's wearing this red sari that could also pass off as a shadi ka joda type. And suddenly you see a big gash right across this blood, and her mouth opens. Her hand has something. She does this, and you can see what looks like a ticket. He's scared. He opens the door, jolts out, starts running. He's running like into the forest, not looking behind. Somehow he's feeling that there is a presence, something behind him. He's not looking back because what he has seen, he can't shake off. At some point, he runs, bangs into something, falls down, blank. Suddenly, his eyes open. At this point of time, there's light. It's like early morning. He has some villagers around who are trying to see if he's alive, is he dead, what's going on. He gets up and he can't shake that image he saw of this woman. So some village people come and he starts telling them that, listen, this is what happened. My car must be on the road. The car is still on the road. It's on. Light is on. It's just there. So the villagers ask him what happened, and he tells them that this is what happened. I went to pick this up. There was a lady. She sat. She was like this. Blood came. I ran away. I don't know what the fuck happened? Suddenly, this old guy who used to work at the railway station, at the Chandarpura railway station, he comes and says that back in 1976, there was a train that had gotten derailed nearby where this Bhutai Ghat is. So it might be that it is one of the passengers whose body was not found. That could be the reason.
Wow.
This word spreads amongst a few people. More stories come in. Another person comes, and then they tell this story of this one family where there was this one girl. Preetambari, something her name was. Okay, I don't remember the name from the story now, but for lack of a better name, we'll call her Preeta. Okay. Now, it is said that Preeta was in love with a guy from another town, which is where this train was heading. Their families were never going to let them marry each other. They loved each other, and they've thought that the only way that they can do this is if she runs away from her house, meets him at this one station, and then they both elope away from their families. And the story is that Preeta, to meet this guy, had gotten ready. She had left. She had boarded the train, and she was one of the passengers who had died after the train got derailed. They weren't able to find her body. The family kept looking apparently, and nothing happened. So this all comes like a shock to him that, maybe somebody whose soul couldn't pass on through has come back to sort of remind or show or do something. Like he had this weird feeling from inside that this is not the entire thing. And it is not just train derailed, there is something more. He would kept getting her image, like that face, that thing across her face, blood coming out again and again, so much so that it drove him mad. It came to a point where he went back to the place he was chased down to. And something came upon him where he started digging across the whole place just by himself, just because he just could not take it. He said, there is something more. I know there is something here. I don't know what. So I'm just going to try and do whatever it is I possibly can. So he starts digging. He's alone. Everybody thinks he's lost it. Imagine his wife is like, what the fuck are you doing? You have kids. He's like, until and unless I take care of this situation, I will not be able to focus on anything. Months pass. He keeps digging until eventually one day he's digging and he comes across skeletal remains. Skeletal remains that he goes then and informs the cops about. And then eventually the real story comes out, the truth comes out. So this girl, Preeta, was leaving that night to meet her lover. Her family knew about it. They were angry. And one of the brothers happened to mention it to another guy, a friend of his, who was in love with Preeta, who could not stand the fact that she was actually running away to go meet someone and get married to that person. So, in a fit of rage that night, he has hit her across her face with an axe. And hence, that thing that he kept seeing was the axe across her face. And years later, after obviously they've done an entire analysis of it, then they figured out that there was. And the weirdest part is that this guy who had done this lived a full life until his last few months, where he would just keep saying, I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry. And in his final breath, he confessed to his kids, I think, at that point, that this is what I had done. The kids had kept quiet because they didn't want to ruin the family name. But eventually, all of this came out. And that's because of that one ride that Satyam didn't say no to.
And that Buddha from the village is actually the lover.
Who kept waiting at the train
Yeah.
station कि आएगी आएगी आएगी.
And like this is the amazing thing about ghosts, na, कि they sometimes just confess to the randomest people. You know, not
Hmm.
to law enforcement, not to family, to random taxi guy.
Random taxi guy. Many years later. और तू इतने साल क्यों नहीं कन्विंस किया? तू 1978 में मरी थी, तू 78 में चालू हो जाती, तो 2012 तक रुकी क्यों? Why did you wait 34 years to tell somebody where you were buried?
You think ghosts
Maybe this
also
has
take
happened to
time
other
to become
people.
stronger? You
Maybe
think
it has.
ghosts take time to become strong enough to actually do this? Like when initially they turn into a ghost, they're too weak to actually
Yeah, you have
pull
to
pull this
figure
off,
out
and but it takes them like 34 years. So it's like, oh, ऐसे ऐसे message pass करना होता है.
थोड़ा cinematic रात
हाँ, like
बीच में.
हाँ, मतलब it's like learning, like it's a weird extra a weird fax machine that they have to figure out. ये
No, I'm
सब
like, if you're a ghost
combination.
and you want to point out what happened to you, just fucking say it. Have you noticed, you watch any horror movies also, they will haunt you for about 1 hour 20 minutes and then 1 hour 25 पे like, अच्छा हुआ क्या basically? तो सीन ये है कि यार मैं तो इधर नॉर्मल चिल कर रही थी, को आके मार दिया मेरे को, तो मेरी सोल ऊपर नहीं गई ना फिर, तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली तेरे को हॉन्ट करना पड़ रहा है, अभी उसको पकड़ लेंगे तो फिर मैं निकलूं.
Yeah,
Should have
Hmm.
told me that at minute 3, so I would have gone and
So
done.
it's like हाँ, so it's like a bunch of things. पहले पहले शीशे पे ऐसे कुछ मार्किंग्स होगी, फिर दीवार पे कुछ दिखेगा. Like, you know,
लाइट
it's
जाएगी.
stuff. हाँ, lights on off होएगा, and then ultimately a ghost appears and touches your head, and then सारा का सारा memory transfer. You could have done this on day one. Like if you knew how to do memory transfer, ऐसा नहीं है कि तूने 3 दिन में सीख लिया. You knew how to do this.
But you know, these are some of my scariest things, right? When you are driving down these
सुनसान roads,
winter nights
foggy.
through like ghats and forest and mountains, उसका एक मजा भी आता है, but फटती भी बहुत है, bro. Especially like you go in the mountain area when you're just moving around, right? You know that little
Hmm.
fog, and then your headlights, and then you just see that, and वाइंडिंग रोड, थोड़ा उधर एक पाइन ट्री दिख गया, फटीज.
By the way, one of the most, like, I think it really unlocked a fear in me that I did not know I had, and to such a degree. So I saw this video on X, I think it was, and so it just said, this is what happened to this car in, I think it was in Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken. But here's what happened in any case. So it's night time, okay? So it's from a dash cam. This footage is from a dash cam of a car. It's night time. They're driving on this road. There is nobody on this road. Sunsan AF. And the dash cam is anyway low res, low quality. And so you can just see the darkness magnified all around this car. The only thing that you can see is like 2 feet of road, which the headlights are illuminating. So the car is going at a decent speed, like 40, 50 kilometers. And suddenly in the uh, in the headlights, you see that there is something laying across the road. It's like a stack of branches, right? The car comes to a stop, and as soon as it comes to a stop, 5 or 6 men come rushing out from
Oof.
behind the branches,
Bro.
racing toward the car. The
Bro.
guy, bro, he slams, like he pulls the thing into reverse and is reversing the car. And as the car is reversing from the side, another man comes out with a fucking, like, those koitas. He comes like that,
हाँ हाँ.
It
like
doesn't
like
end. Your algo and my algo is sexing because I saw this same video and it's
Oh
not more. By the
fuck.
when he's reversing on the dash cam,
this.
because it's वो night vision वाला है ना, अंधेरा है, तो you see these like almost glow in the dark
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
headlights, and you think there's two or three. There's at least 8 to 10 to maybe 12.
yeah. Of these guys,
And
and
this,
one of them,
yeah, with like machete type situation, and this dude has reversed in like what presence of mind.
yeah,
Because आगे जाके भी उन लोग है ना, वो रास्ते पे रखता है ना,
strict
वो जो
version.
वो
Yeah,
सब होता है. So he's gone full reverse because he knows till then there has been no obstruction.
yeah.
So he's gone, and it's insane. Like I don't know how long he went reverse, Because I would assume that even for a little time, if you stop to take that U-turn,
No, you're
those
done.
guys are reaching you for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
You have to do a James Bond, like Born Identity type of zoop karke and then go. That's the
और
only way you're safe.
उतना जगह नहीं था उधर. उतना
It was
जगह
very,
नहीं था.
very narrow.
Narrow था.
And the thing is, like you couldn't see the features of these men. Like the camera was too low quality for that. But just from the way that their body was moving, you could like the danger was radiating off of these figures. I can't tell you how nightmarish that situation was.
Yeah.
But do you think these were thugs? These were people who are
Yeah.
like
They,
robbers. Yeah.
they,
Yeah, they're not
What if they're
ghosts with
just,
machetes.
yeah, dude, ghost with machete is 100 times worse.
no, in fact,
Normal ghost is
no.
scary.
The thing that is 100 times worse is, in fact, for me, it is the fact that these are human beings. That
Hmm.
you don't have to go to any bhutai ghat. They exist amongst you, and you will interact with them in the day, and in the night they will attack you with a machete. That's the scary part.
Yeah. But I heard about this one story from a friend. So this is in Chennai. Okay. And this is as recent as 2018. Okay. So the story is about this one security guard. His name is Arvind. Okay. He is a security guard in a luxury apartment building in Nandambakkam in Chennai. Okay. It's a very like quiet
We
job.
performed there.
Nandambakkam में किया था
Yeah.
ना? हाँ.
Yeah.
So it's a very quiet job, boring hours, nothing really interesting happening, right? What are you doing? You're not doing much. Till one night on the CCTV, he has seen something that has made his blood go cold. So he's seen in one of the security monitors that goes to the underground basement wala camera of a dude looking up straight into where the CCTV camera is
Fuck.
with a white kurta that is torn, almost what seems like pan or blood, you don't know. A beard like this, still here, mouth open, like he's screaming. Like, when you have to really scream across the room to get somebody's attention, how wide your mouth opens, it's like that. Eyes are black and he's looking straight into the CCTV. This guy looks at that monitor, he jumps because, bro, like I'm thinking about it and I'm
कान फट रहा है हाँ सोच
फट
के
रहा
ही
है.
फट रही है
उसने तो देखा है, तो he's jumped out, he's seen the time, it's 3:03 a.m. He's gone, he's tried, you can also zoom in, he's done that. His eyes, dude, this guy's eyes are pitch black. Pitch black. He looks like he's silently screaming. For some reason, Arvind decides that he will go and check this out. He runs down, goes to the underground basement, opens it, walks around inside. Nothing. Nobody is there. He goes back up, tries to rewind the footage. It's not there.
and
He's
then he
like,
turns around
that would have been insane, right? Next day, he tries to tell that to the other watchmen who all obviously laugh it off. Right?
ये तो
Never
दारू
believe.
पिया है हाँ हाँ
Right? Over the next few days, same thing. Because he's doing the night duty. At 3:03, the monitor he looks at has the same guy looking up and screaming, but you can't hear anything. Every night for the next 3 weeks, he has felt this. At
भाई
this
मैं
point,
अपने
he's
कोई
going
दोस्त को
mad.
लेके आता बाय दिस टाइम लाइक ब्रो तू मेरे साथ बैठ
ये नहीं किया अरविंद, पता नहीं क्यों. Anyway, not just that, the residents of the building has started complaining. One man complained about hearing loud footsteps on his roof, like on his ceiling, but he stays on the top floor. A woman has found muddy footprints leading up to her bathroom, even though she is unlocking the door from outside to come in. The door was locked. And the weirdest, scariest part was a child claimed that a man with dark eyes, he actually said it like a man with no eyes, stood and tried to talk to him. Now this started going fucking crazy. Finally, Arvind contacted the last guard to like to ask if he felt the same thing. And he said yes. He said many years ago, a homeless man had snuck into the building and taken shelter in that underground basement, hiding, not coming out, not meeting anybody, staying away from the cameras or whatever. Till then, till the point where there was, the floods that happened in Chennai at some point. I don't remember the year exactly, but in one of the years that it flooded, the entire basement had got it flooded. And there's an electrical socket type component which is locked from the outside. He used to sleep inside that, and he was electrocuted. And once the water subsided, they started getting a smell. They went down and they found his body contorted and his mouth in that same way as if he was screaming for help. And that's why every time you see him, it's that face. It's that, that scream and agony and pain and absolute helplessness.
What a great urban legend.
Huh?
What a great urban legend, I was saying.
Yeah. And it's freakier because when you say Nandambakkam, you say Chennai, you say 2019, like crazy.
नहीं ये 303 वाला बहुत like there's a story from again 1987. It's called Wonderland Toys. So it was a shop and children used to it used to be one of these popular toy shops. And their Halloween celebration was the best. So children used to dress up and used to come there, and the toy shop was open for everybody. So children could come in, they get candy, and they get to dance around it. This place is Willow Creeks. It's a small town. So children used to love it. Now, क्या हुआ था? There was this one kid called Timmy Carson. He was dressed as a pirate that day. He was very happy, and he was exploring the toy shop. Now, dhire dhire, laughing everything, he decides to go to this one room that says inventory, which is always locked. And somehow it was open that day.
Fuck.
And this kid goes in. Now everything is gone well, everything is fine. The parents are like, where's our child? So now they start searching, everybody searching around it. Baju wale store mein, ye, wo, everything. People are panicked, police has gotten involved. Finally, the police comes back and they're like, what is this room? Now it's almost daybreak. They're like, it's inventory. We don't really open the room. We keep it bolted. We don't use this room. So the police gets it broken down because they don't even have a bloody key. So they break the room. And what they find is shocking. Because first of all, they check out the floor plans and everything. It's like, why do you not know what is in your own shop? So floor plans pe, it's not there. वो है ही नहीं of the building plan. And the guy who bought that store, the previous owner had told him, just don't ask about this room, forget about it. He's like, yeah, but it was a great deal, so he got it. And he kept conducting business, a very successful business. So now the police go in and they're investigating the room, and it smells like nobody's entered this room for years. And it's covered in cobwebs. And then they start noticing on the walls, there's drawings of this guy called, and it's this Mr. Bendy is written below it. And it's a stick figure, weirdly shaped. It's not like the human stick figures that people make. It's a very weirdly shaped stick figure. And teeth are really pronounced, like way bigger than the head. And as they keep going across, it's like a child has drawn this with crayons. So as they keep progressing into the room, the image keeps getting more and more vivid until the point they go to the back of the room and into the plaster, like जैसे nails से बनाया गया है. There's the same drawing of Mr. Bendy, but it's too high for the child to have drawn this. And there's no step ladder, nothing. It's way too high. It's like almost 7, 8 foot upper. And they find this one Polaroid lying on the floor next to that weird etched out wala. And it's like that Polaroid has been clicked like 20 years ago. It's almost curled up, dirty, brown. And they see Timmy in that photo,
What?
staring at the wall, staring at that drawing, and they see a shadow that's being cast on the wall behind Timmy. And it's got too many edges. It's not a human silhouette. So now the store doesn't recover from this. They have to shut down. Nobody goes there. A child has gone missing in a kid's toy store. It's done. So people just stop going. They try to run the business for a while, but the people start noticing weird stuff. Like the workers who are there, they start hearing, like, as soon as the sun goes down, they start hearing all the toy boxes and things. Now they start hearing giggling from the toy boxes. And it's this weird high-pitched giggle. Like it's the sound of the toy is the same sound the toy makes, but it's just a few frequencies off. So it just sounds very eerie. The cashier who's there, she's sitting there and she thinks like she's saying that there are the dolls' heads keep turning towards her.
Ah.
So the cashier quits. Now, the security footage, and this is the final night of the store where they have finally boarded up everything and they're like, अब तो बंद होने वाला है. There's security cameras in there, and at 3:03, all the animatronics, all the clowns, the bears, the robots, their heads start turning. It's almost as if, you know, how a royalty is walking and everybody around in the room are just looking at this one person walking across. They can't see what it is, but somehow everybody's eyes are tracking this one figure it's like somebody's walking down the corridor. And on the table where जो गल्ला होता है, where the cashier's desk, the next morning they find a like nail say etched out in the wood. It says found.
Oh.
So now the store gets demolished the next year and the lot is empty. And children basically now every Halloween dare other kids to stand and go as further into that lot as they can.
No
And
way.
some kids say that if they go too deep, they feel a tug on their sleeve. They say Mr. Bendy is still there.
Oh.
ये 303 वाला this witching hour thing.
It's very interesting how like this
मेरे को
episode.
स्लेंडर मैन दिखाई दे रहा था जब भी तू
हाँ.
बेंडी बोल रहा ना मुझे स्लेंडर मैन दिखाई दे रहा देखा है स्लेंडर मैन मूवी देखा है
Yeah, dude. That was, I can't watch like right now also I've got Modern Family queued up. Okay, the moment we finish this podcast, I have to see 2 episodes of Modern Family before going to bed.
Palate cleanser.
Uh,
Yeah, no, like I find it very interesting how, by the way, the three of us do not tell each other the stories we're bringing. We just
yeah.
yeah this first we heard it first
we hear it for the first
on the
time.
podcast
And it's very interesting how 303 and children's toys being creepy is one of the themes of the episode, and urban
I,
legend.
I hate stories not getting a resolution. Like Varun ka dono stories, there's resolution. Like, oh, okay, we know what happened. I hate the ones that you don't get a resolution. So I
So
feel those are the scarier ones
then you're gonna
for
hate
me.
this one.
Oh no.
Okay, so this is an urban legend. Now I'll tell you later what elevates it to a slightly more interesting place. But This is an urban legend all the way from Hong Kong. Okay, it's one of their more like famous urban legends from that region. So basically, this incident, it's a real incident that takes place in the December of 1989. So in 1989, there is a hotel in Hong Kong, a restaurant. It's basically they have a term for this type of restaurant. It's called the Cha Chan Teng. Okay, it's basically like a fast food type thing. Now, what happens is that on this one particular night in December of 1989, this restaurant gets a phone call for a delivery. So someone places an order for food and they give an address. Now this address, the food is to be delivered to a unit in a place called High Saw Gardens. So a delivery boy is dispatched with this food. The delivery boy reaches this apartment complex, finds the particular apartment and rings the bell. Now he can hear voices from inside. He rings the bell. He hears footsteps approaching, and then the door is opened just a crack, and a hand slips out with the money. The delivery boy takes the money, and a voice tells him, "Leave the food outside." Now the delivery boy leaves the food outside and goes back to the restaurant. Now he hands in the money, but later that night, the owner of this restaurant is tallying the till. And as he goes through the money, he sees that there are all these proper notes, and then there is a stack of what is called joss papers. Now, what are joss papers? Joss papers are basically in Chinese tradition. You basically, when someone dies, you give these joss papers. It's like currency for the afterlife, for the dead. They're also known as hell papers. So he finds these stack of papers and he's like, what is this? This exactly corresponds to, like, the money that's missing is exactly that one order that went to High Sao Gardens. So he calls the delivery boy. He's like, what is this? Is this some kind of prank that you're playing? The delivery boy is like, no, I got real money. I put real money into the till. I don't know what this is. Now, the next night, same restaurant gets a phone call from the same exact apartment and the same exact order is placed. Now, again, the delivery boy is sent. Again, he makes his way up to this apartment. He can hear people inside. He rings the bell. He hears footsteps approaching the door. The door is opened just a crack and a hand slips out containing the money. He takes the money and a voice tells him, clear and commanding, leave the food outside the door. The delivery boy again does as he is told. Again, he puts the money in the till, and yet again, when it's tallied, there are these hell papers amongst the notes. Now, at this point, the owner is getting very, very annoyed with this situation. He believes that somebody, either the delivery boy or the people who are ordering, somebody is playing a prank on him. And his suspicions are confirmed when the next night, again, the phone rings. It's the same location, same person making the same order. This time, the owner of the restaurant decides that I will go myself and deliver this food. So this time, the owner takes the food. He reaches this place, goes up to the apartment. He hears people inside, and then he rings the bell. Footsteps. The door is opened just a crack. A hand slips out with money. And then a clear commanding voice tells him, leave the food outside. He does as he's told. He sees the money, he inspects the money. The money is absolutely fine. It's proper money. The owner is satisfied. He leaves the food outside, goes back to the restaurant, and this time he keeps the money separately in an encased box. At the end of the day, when he is tallying everything, when he opens the box, he sees that the money is gone, and it's replaced by hell papers. Now, at this point, he is legitimately freaked out. He reports this to the cops, and the cops actually investigate this. Here's where it actually becomes really interesting. What elevates this from mere urban legend is that this is one of the few cases where the Hong Kong police has actually weighed in and said that something was very, very wrong. So the police head over to the apartment
Oh shit.
and they ring the bell. Now the apartment is deathly silent. They demand that the door be opened. Nobody comes to the door. Now the police break open the door, and when they head inside, they see that seated around a table are four men, and all four are dead and missing their heads. Now, beneath them on the floor lie empty cans of food, containers of food that came from the restaurant. Now, what makes it even creepier is that neighbors, they basically, so the bodies are they go through autopsies, and it's found out that these people have been dead for weeks.
Fucking hell.
Neighbors, however, said that how is that possible? Because for the last few days we've been hearing sounds coming out like of people playing a game called Mahjong inside this apartment. Right now, the fact that makes it even stranger is that the bodies had been dead for weeks. But when they did the autopsy, they found that in their intestines there was food from days ago. And when they did the forensics on the hell papers, they found that they had the fingerprints of the delivery boy, the owner of the restaurant, and two of the dead men. So that's the story of the Phantom Mahjong Players.
Insane.
And apparently it's true. Now, how true it is, I cannot vouch for, but
ब्रो, अगर तेरे को मेरी पहले की घोस्ट स्टोरी याद है तो मेरी नानी ने बाजू वाले रूम में किसी को टेबल टेनिस खेलते हुए सुना था. And then when she went there, it wasn't. Remember, I told you the story of this weekend house that they used to go to in Devlad.
yeah.
So, yeah, you never know, man. कुछ तो कोई स्पोर्ट खेल रहा है, कोई कार्ड गेम खेल रहा है, भरोसा
But
नहीं.
table tennis is categorically worse as a game to hear.
This is, by the
Yeah,
way,
कुछ
this is
तरह
the
knocking
kind.
around. I don't know what mahjong. How do you sound like when you play
It's like
mahjong?
dominoes. हाँ कुछ तो होता है. It's like a
हाँ.
different kind of हाँ.
But this is the kind of ghost I would be. Where I'd be like, देखो guys, जाते जाते एक चाइनीज मंगा लेते हैं.
एक एक शेजवान राइस.
एक ट्रिपल शेजवान हो जाए.
फ्राइड नूडल्स चाहिए ना तो फिर
Fried
मैं तेरे
noodles.
को हॉन्ट करूंगा जिंदगी भर. और जब भी तुझे मारूंगा तब तुझसे निकलेगा शेजवान भरा खून. तो
Oh no.
ओके बॉयज, और कुछ है क्या? 2 घंटा कर लिया अपन ने अभी. आई थिंक अगर अपन ने अभी स्टॉप नहीं किया तो आदर आज रात को सो नहीं पाएगा. तो
हाँ.
आज के लिए फिलहाल घोस्ट स्टोरी रख देते हैं बाजू में. इसको लेके आएंगे इन अनदर पार्ट another time. But that's it from this episode of the Internet Said So. We were discussing some crazy ghost stories as always. Let us know which one was your favorite. कौन से सुन के गांड फटी. और क्या बोलना था? हाँ, टिकट खरीदो भाई, प्लीज डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू बाय टिकट्स. लंदन, टोरंटो, लिंक इज इन द कमेंट्स. मेरा यूएस स्टोर लिंक इज इन द कमेंट्स. ले लो टिकट, आ जाओ शो देखने. एंड विल सी यू अगेन नेक्स्ट वीक. Until then,
Yeah.
it's goodbye. Take care. Tata. Salam.
Guys, तुम लोग 303 people, if you want to comment, right? 303 in the comments.
303 कर लो. If you watch this at 303 and something happens now, you let us know that, because that'll be fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Best.
And if you're the 303rd comment,
Third
Comment.
like.
Oh,
Tell us if you're the 303rd like.
yeah. If you have watched 3, नहीं छोड़ रहने दे, ये चलते. 303 लोगों को शेयर करो, ये पहले ये करो तुम,
हाँ
ठीक है? हाँ, चल।